Next on The Buzz, the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, leaves a musical legacy that few people come close to.
Yeah, performing timeless classics, of course, like All Shook Up and Love Me Tender, which he also wrote. But a new book is looking at another side of the king. In Letters from Elvis, Shocking Revelations to His Secret Confidant, Presley opens up like never before. And joining us this morning is the local author of Letters from Elvis, Gary Lindberg. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning.
Secret confidants, hidden letters.
Yes.
How did you come across all of this?
Well, it's quite a story. I was called late one night by a friend of mine who said I just was given access to a cache of secret letters written by Elvis Presley, Harry Belafonte, Tom Jones, and Marlon Brando, all to the same woman, their secret confidant, a woman who worked as their spiritual advisor. The letters were written over a 5-year period from 1967 to 1972, and they contain information that has never before been made public.
So, if you can, just share a couple of things that, I mean, there's obviously a lot in there, but maybe something that really jumps out or jumped out at you when you heard about these letters that you can reveal to us today.
Well, when I was allowed to read the letters for the first time, there were obviously a couple of letters that really caught my attention. In fact, they brought tears to my eyes when I read them. It turns out that in 1968, after shooting the movie Charo, Elvis and Marlon were together alone at Marlon's home, and they were abducted at gunpoint. And they were removed from the house. They dropped Marlon off, locked him in his bongo room at his Mulholland mansion, and took Elvis and kept him the rest of the day and all night, and tortured him, viciously tortured him, and sodomized him, 10 men. And he was put into the hospital, and he was almost lost his life. He had kidney problems and blood clot problems, and for a number of days he really hovered between life and death. Now, this obviously is not something that has ever been publicized before, but Elvis wrote about this experience to this woman named Carmen Montez, and so did Marlon, who was kidnapped with him. So there's corroborating evidence and eyewitness testimony and a lot of other things. But outside of these letters, this information has never before been made public. So that's one of the more sensational topics. It was something that in reading the accounts of the torture, it was so vicious, it was almost beyond belief. In fact, it made me question the truthfulness of the letters. So I spent many years investigating the letters. They were all authenticated by handwriting experts. So we know that they were...
I was going to say, you believe these are true then?
I absolutely believe they were true. Now, that's not to say that when Elvis writes about the details and Marlon writes about the details, that they got all the details absolutely right. Elvis says...
But you believe it happened, and that
I
was
believe it all
that,
happened,
yeah.
yes.
Okay, so you mentioned that, okay, this is Elvis writing to this woman who he considered his spiritual advisor, and did he really open up? And that obviously is a very compelling story, but were there other things that he revealed to her, and how did this, these shocking events, and how did they come to be in this book?
Yes, no, I would say that these letters are intensely personal. They're at times confessional. They talk about the worries that they have, the emotional disturbances that they're going through. They worry about each other. This is a very close circle of friends, these 4 individuals. They worry about each other. They ask for support for their friends. And they talk about the betrayals that they're experiencing, both in the workplace and in their family lives. So they're very, very personal. Unfortunately, we can't publish the actual letters themselves in the book because of copyright law. The way copyright of letters works is kind of different than what most people think. If I write a letter and hand it to you, or give it to you, You own that physical document, the letter itself. You can burn it, sell it, do whatever you want with it, but you can't publish the content of that letter because the words, the sequence of words that are in that letter is copyrighted under public law by the letter writer himself. And if
that's
that
why
person...
you've taken these, you've summarized stuff up, you've come up with some stuff. And that's what makes this an interesting read. And yeah, all I can say is there's a lot of stuff in here.
There is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Gary, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, once again, the book is called Letters from Elvis. It's currently available online and in bookstores on Thursday. It's available on Thursday. The launch event is this Friday at 7 at the Galleria Barnes & Noble in Edina. And next week on November 7th, Gary has a book signing at Common Good Books. That's in St. Paul, also starting at 7. Go check it out. Ask him all the questions you need.
Letters from Elvis.